Hello, this is Dave Willett of Vault Solutions, and I'm here to show you today Archive Accelerator, and in particular its ability to restore items from Symantec's Enterprise Vault into Office 365. So we're finding a lot of people today are starting to migrate to Office 365 from on-premise Exchange, and with Office 365 is the ability to have an online archive, and so a lot of people are choosing that option and taking and wanting to migrate their legacy archive data into Office 365 online archives or to the main mailbox. So Archive Accelerator has been able to restore data to people's mailboxes for a number of years now. It can actually be used to do a lot of things. Import data, we have a lot of people using it to import data from other legacy archives. They're moving into Enterprise Vault. We can search on data in very unique ways, and but we can also restore data to people's mailboxes, Exchange 2010, 2013, or Office 365, or even Google. So in this case, we're going to show you how this can be used to move to Office 365. So I'll start by showing you this the settings for the task. So first going back here, you see there's some tasks here. The task that we'll be using today is the restore archive task. And you can set a schedule for when you want this to run. You might only want this to run in the evening, for example. And then there's a number of settings around its behavior. So by default, it'll run 10 workers at a time. So each worker is processing one mailbox. You could set this up to do more than that, 15 or 30, for example. Now, a lot of people in this next section here, it talks about restore shortcuts. So some people with Enterprise Vault, they use shortcuts. Other people didn't use shortcuts. We can work, whether you use them or not. This is a good solution in both cases. So if you've got shortcuts, sometimes people want to make sure that the item is restored to the location of the shortcut. And they also want to make sure that they only restore items for which they have shortcuts. So that's this option here. You enable shortcut restore. Basically what we'll do in this case is go through the mailbox or the online archive in Office 365 looking for shortcuts. Take the original item out of Enterprise Vault and replace the shortcut with the original item. So you can also filter based on date. There's an option here to move things to PSD file, but in this case we're going to Office 365. I know it says Exchange here, but this includes Office 365. You can have the option to skip the deleted items folder. Now, after the shortcuts have been restored, you may want to also restore everything else that was in the archive and perhaps put it into to another folder, so it's easy, separated from the regular mail. So you do have this ability down here with the subfolder setting to tell it where you want to put these items. So I can say uh, archived items, and it will go in. They'll all go into subdirectories underneath this archived items folder. This so you might only select this and not select the shortcut restore, in which case it'll just go through your archived items and put them into the new target mailbox. Some other options around in here around Google. If you're migrating to Google, which we're not showing here today, you can also filter on date range. So I've set these settings now, and so what I've said is I want to go ahead and replace the shortcuts, and I want to also move everything else that I find into the target location. So now I can go ahead and well, first of all, I'll go ahead and start this. You can set this to automatically start when the machine boots, and then this is always running, but running on a schedule. So now I go down to the targets area, and I'm going to select the target that I want to restore to. So now I've got I'm showing things that are on premise here, and I'm also showing some things that are in Office 365. So I'm going to filter this view and only show me the items that are moved to Office 365. This list is populated by going into Active Directory, going to Office 365, going into Enterprise Vault, and collecting information about the mailboxes and archives that we find. In this case, I only want to move things off to the Office 365 environment. So now I've got a smaller list of mailboxes that have been moved up there. And I'm just going to go ahead and right-click on this this mailbox, and and asked to restore it. So I can just say restore now, and then this will just immediately start restoring these items. Another option is to tell it to select for restore, in which case it'll do the restore the next time I have the schedule set for the task to run, which could be, for example, in the evening. So you could select, you know, hundreds of mailboxes to run or 1,000 mailboxes to run that night, and using the select for restore. And you can set different priorities on some of these items. So if I set a different priority, then I can say that I want certain people's mailboxes to be restored first, maybe the VIPs, for example. Now, if I want to see what's going on, I can click on this job list, and this will dynamically show you what's happening. So this was just updated. It shows you that it's processing this mailbox that I had asked it to restore to, and the job status is processing. And you can see that this is what server this is running on. You can have Archive Accelerator running on multiple servers for a really large environment. You can have multiple Archive Accelerator servers, and they will share the workload, and this will just show you which server is actually doing the work here. The job source is just telling you that I manually started this job as opposed to running it on a schedule. And then, as I mentioned, this product can do a number of things. So this is just telling you that the task that we're doing here is this restore task. So this should kick off pretty soon as it goes through the mailbox, and I'll show you on the client side here. This is the mailbox, and you can see these shortcuts start to disappear here. This is the user's inbox, where he had some shortcuts and he also had some regular items. Those shortcuts have now been replaced by the original items, and this is continuing to find more shortcuts in other folders and replace those. And then once it's done with the shortcuts, which it looks like it just finished, it found 17 shortcuts. Of course, this is a smaller mailbox for the demo purposes. Then it will kick off the phase of restoring the rest of the items that were in the user's archive, but he didn't have shortcuts for them. So in this case, we actually fire off multiple threads to do this per mailbox. And you can see each one of these is processed a number of items. So if I go back over to the client, on the left-hand side, you'll see that I've got a folder called Archive Items here. So this is a folder we asked it to put the items in, and it's created these subfolders. So these are basically the subfolders that people had their items in, and it's going to populate all these subfolders with the items, and it actually creates these folders as it goes along. You can also opt to, some people, a lot of people, in fact, don't want them put into a subfolder. So what they'll do is they'll have all of these folders, like this, in this case, this level 00 folder and MSSQL folder would have been created at the upper level, which is where they would have been in the first place. And other people want them within a subfolder to make it easier to figure out which items were in the archive. So this is continuing on now and processing those items. And if coming back to this Archive Accelerator server, you can see that it's moving along here. Now you also have some filtering capabilities here, so you can, for example, take a look at which items are processing, or you can take a look and see which items had errors, and you know that there may have been a problem with Enterprise Vault wasn't running or something like that. It didn't have access to the archive. So there's easy ways to figure out what's going on. In fact, there's a report that shows you the errored items, and that is or failed items, and this is very handy for trying to get to the bottom of why certain items weren't restored. It could have been Enterprise Vault wasn't available, or there's a quota issue with the mailbox, or the item was too large for the user's mailbox, or something like that. So you'd be able to see a report here, and actually there'll be a list of these failed items here and a URL to click on, so you can see the original item in Enterprise Vault, and then try to deal with the errors that way. So So as one of the report I want to show you, which is basically a rate report that shows you the speed that it's processing. So this is for each minute the hourly rate of restoring items. I'm only restoring one mailbox, so this isn't going to be a very large number, but you can be restoring a lot of mailboxes at one time, and depending on your throughput, you'll see the hourly rate, and this is a good thing to look at. Actually, you can see this other graph that shows you per hour rather than per minute, and this is a good thing to look at when you come in the morning if you've been processing items overnight to see how it's progressed through the night. So that is our Archive Accelerator restore product, and showing you how this can be used to restore items into Office 365. Thank you very much.